Over the next 45 minutes to an hour, we're going to explore some incredible concepts. And look, and that's not to take away from all the other sessions we've heard over the amazing last 2 days. There's been some expert speakers, some really good content, and some really key analytics that you can take back into adopt into your program. But as Nelia suggested earlier, we're about to explore some innovative topics, some disruption topics, and really talk about the pros and the cons on both. Because let's be honest, there is a future inside corporate travel, but generally, are all of you going to be still here? Hopefully, right? Like that's the aim. So we're going to really explore some 3 different topics and move forward from that. So, Nile, I think we're ready to welcome our first speaker.
Shall we introduce?
Yes, into the. If we move to the Slido first off. So if we can just all take out our phones, please. And please take a photo of the QR code on your right-hand screen. And I want to ask a question for everybody first. So you have 1 million GBTA invisible dollars, not actual dollars, for my friend Catherine down in the first row. So invisible dollars to invest in OBTs and AI-enabled travel tools. How would you, in the audience, invest your money? So again, we have all OBT, all AI, 3 parts OBT, 2 parts AI, and then the last 2 options there as well. So please take your time, take your phones out, and we're just going to explore this before going into our first speaker. Okay, so we see some themes coming through. So we have 1 part OBT, 2 parts, it's changing dynamically always, but 2 parts OBT, 2 parts AI. So we got a 50-50 lean. So I think that's going to be a pretty good session for us to explore. So I'll give it a few more seconds while the last responses come in. But it does sound that some of you are optimists and some of you are pessimists in the reality of what we're doing with AI and how that's going to be introduced into your corporate travel programs as well. Okay, excellent. Nila, I think we're ready.
Shall we dive further into it? Let's welcome Andy Winchester to the stage. Andy joins us from LP Bloomberg.
My competitor, well done.
Good morning. So, AI and booking technology, everyone's favorite topic at the moment. But anyway, here's my pitch. Here's what I want to say about this topic. So, imagine this. It's 2011, and Apple has just launched Siri. I think the idea of talking to your phone back then and having it understand you felt like science fiction. Yet fast forward to today, and we've got AI agents in our homes, in our cars, in our workplace, and in our pockets. And yet, I still feel that in the world of corporate travel, we are stuck in the past. So now, imagine this instead. You talk to your phone or your PC and you say, hey, book me a trip to Singapore. Arriving Sunday night, leaving Friday night, book me a preferred hotel near my office, and let me know if there's any arrival restrictions or documentation that I need. And it's done. No forms, no filters, just simple, quick, and efficient results. And my view is that's the future, and it's not powered by traditional online booking technology, it's powered by AI. So, in my view, corporate travel tools were revolutionary 20 years ago, but today I feel that they are, 1, cumbersome, they take users a significant amount of time to research and book a trip. They are rigid, actually. I think they enforce policy, but they don't give you any context. For example, if you find a hotel that's $10 over your city cap, but the alternatives offered are in a location that's $20 each way in a taxi, then that's not logical. And I feel that they are disconnected. They do not integrate seamlessly with email, with calendar, and with your preferences. So, in a world where we expect instant personalized service from Siri, from Alexa, from ChatGPT, why are we still navigating through drop-down menus to book a simple business trip? And AI tools, I feel, are not just better. I think they're transformative, and here's why. I think we know they have natural language understanding. They understand intent. You say, book me a trip to Tokyo for the product launch next month. And AI knows the dates, it knows the location, and it knows your preferences. It gets to understand you, it gets to know you. Because it integrates with your calendar, because it integrates with your email and your past trips, It knows the seat you like. It knows that you like to stay in hotels based on your loyalty memberships. Or it may know that you like sustainable travel options or that you take aircraft that are fuel efficient. It also has the policy intelligence I was mentioning. It doesn't just enforce, it will explain, i.e. you can't book this hotel but because it exceeds the nightly cap. But here are 3 other good alternatives in the right location that comply. And it also has real-time help and suggestions. AI can rebook you mid-trip during a flight delay. It can find better deals for you, or it can suggest combining trips to save cost and carbon footprint. And these tools are not just experimental, they're already in use, helping companies improve and transform their travel and expense experience for both travelers and finance managers, such as reducing booking time, improving compliance and accuracy, streamlining the expense claim and reporting process, and even enhancing traveler safety. And now some might say, well, what about the human? Shouldn't they be involved? And
yes, I agree.
I agree too. But AI, my feeling is AI doesn't replace the human. I think it just empowers them, which allows travel managers then to focus on their strategy and not boring site configurations. Employees can focus on their work and not their bookings. Even travel consultants can focus on complex trips and customer service, and then just let AI do the rest with the accuracy and reliability of an experienced, seasoned travel professional that's multilingual and available 24/7. So here's the question, Ben. Why are we still using tools built decades ago when companies that embrace it can save time, save cost, and improve efficiency? So my view is that let's stop clicking through forms and start talking to systems that understand us, because the best travel assistant is not a booking tool. It's artificial intelligence, and it's smarter than anything we've ever seen before.
Well done, Andy. Let's give him a round of applause. Now it's my very difficult job to give the reality here. And for those that don't know me, I am a true believer in the AI revolution. I 100% agree. I think form-based tools are looking to, evolve out of our ecosystem and more freely into AI algorithms. But look, let's take a question and just a sense of the room here. Who's a travel manager, travel program leader in the room? Just put your hand up. Just going a little bit old school. Okay. For those, how many of travelers do you have that are fully automated on their mobile phones today? Or do you still have travelers that print itineraries, print visa forms, print, and again, I'm hearing some chuckles, so let's be honest, right? There are those old school traditional travelers that rely on physical evidence of travel experiences. And sometimes when you take those away, that is an education and a continuation of educating those travelers that they need to be more reliant on mobile and algorithms to get them that information. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible, because it's going to be a journey, though, of educating those travelers and make them feel comfortable on the road. I think another consideration that you've always got to look at as well, and again, for those in the room, who has an AI-enabled compliance legal framework at the moment in your programs? Thank you, Andy. Again, great insight. That is a massive consideration, because your data needs to be protected at all elements, including machine learning and algorithms that are taking and learning personal information about each and every one of you while you're traveling to make better decisions for you. Now, again, you might not want them to make those decisions, but it is going to be smart enough and agile enough to enforce those decisions without a prior knowledge. So again, it's all about understanding that, yes, it is the future, but we also need to protect ourselves inside the compliance element to really ensure that your data and your personal information is being protected at all points in the travel ecosystem. Again, I'm going to explore another concept, and again, just a watch out and a risk for everybody in the room. Has everybody understood the term hallucination with inside AI? Okay, so for those that don't know, hallucination is that an AI algorithm will take information and then inform decisions based on that information on their interpretation of the data. So again, Andy did a great point of saying they understand intent, but yes, they do understand intent, but they also sometimes interpret that intent differently to how a human would. So that's also a very big risk that your travelers who are in probably the most highly emotive category. I know some of you are dedicated travel managers. Some of you have a number of categories under your components. But that is the challenge, that when you look at trusting a machine learning and an AI algorithm to inform those decision-making processes on your behalf without a human intervention, that's where the risk can come to. And again, ultimately, you as the travel managers are going to be liable for that. Then I think the one last point before again, I'd love to, we could talk about this for hours, Andy, as you know, but the one last point I do also want to leave you with as well is that I'm not sure that everybody's also tied AI and the future of AI with sustainability. But unfortunately, they go hand in hand, because the way that you need to power the computing information from algorithms and from artificial intelligence is by water. So you're cooling those systems. And yes, there are recyclable water, but again, just saying thank you and please and hi, how's your day to those AI algorithms, you're going to cost you and your organization more and more and put more CO2 emissions back into the environment based on those examples. They are not a human. I know we want to appease our future master overlords with our AI algorithms, but again, they're not human. They're understanding logic with you're putting inside the system as well. So again, I love Andy's take because it is such a relevant and example and great examples around where we are going as a future, but we also have some watch points that I think a few of you in the room, we need to go back and have a look at reevaluating that and the viability of moving AI right now today.
Great arguments. And I think because I'm taking the, of course, the devil's advocate approach, what has been very encouraging since I've been here is listening to some of the online booking technology companies that are here and what they're doing in this space as well to really integrate AI into their systems and develop. So I think, that's a very encouraging situation.
And I think it would be a scary prospect of having AI Ben Wedlock being here in the next 5 years instead of the
you'll be
physical one.
hallucinating
Exactly.
Here, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, I guess you're starting to understand why this is called the Big Ideas Debate. And we would also love to see how you feel about it.
So if we bring up the Slido, please, if we can.
So the reflection, identify one argument that has caused you to evaluate your point of view.
Oh, I don't know about the second answer there. You definitely need a TMC. I need to reinforce that. No. Excellent, but this is your time. So again, you can fact check myself or Andy at any time to bring in some different perspectives, because we'd love to hear your sense of how you're feeling about the AI revolution that we're all experiencing at the moment.
We see everyone typing.
Ben seems scared by AI. Love that.
Travel scrimping.
There's a lot of good work going on in renewable energy as well for AI at the moment. There's a lot of companies investing in gigawatts of solar and wind energy to power their data centers, and even using the heat in Scandinavia to power heating in cities.
Excellent.
What have we got?
And again, I think we've got some great concepts that we're exploring as a group here as well. And let's be honest, the conversation doesn't stop with the 10 minutes that Andy and I shared together. This is a continuation and an evolution of our industry. And look, we need to embrace and adapt to AI in all of our programs, in all facets of the ecosystem. But it's just also about making sure that we're ready and you're ready in your programs and your travelers are ready to adopt this through an education life cycle as well. Okay.
Oh, I love this enthusiasm. Keep it going.
Thank you, everybody. It's great.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much,
Andy.
Andy, for joining us. That was super insightful. Let's give him a warm applause.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, and we've got another speaker joining us on the stage. Please give a warm welcome to Lisa Batchelor from Cochlear.
Thank you.
Come join the hot seat.
So exciting. Hi, everyone. How are you?
That's the interactive time. You can ask her how you're going.
So do we have a Slido?
Yes, to start off with, absolutely. Okay, so the question to the room is, over the next 5 years, travel policies will become simpler, stay the same, or become more nuanced and complex. Okay, so we'll give it a few seconds for everybody to come on in. There's definitely more than 31 of you in the room, so please take out your mobiles and look at that QR code. Okay. We've got a pretty consistent theme coming on so far, is that we all believe that travel policies will be becoming more nuanced and complex. 65% of the room is in agreement of that. It's interesting to see that only 3% of you feel that it's going to stay the same. That's an interesting take. Okay, we'll give it a few more seconds. Okay, Lisa, over to you. Let's go.
Okay, so I'm being a bit interactive today and I am losing my voice, so I do apologise. First of all, anyone that is born before 1980, please put your hand up.
Oh.
Bit hard to see. Yeah, you can't put your hand up.
No, sorry.
Yeah,
Lisa.
before 1980? Yep, so there's a lot of us. So if you look around the room, you'll see the people that in the next 15 years are potentially not going to be working full-time. And it's a serious question. Like, if you look around the room and you see those people that had their hands up, that's the generation that will not be working full-time within the next 15 years. So everyone else that's left, you are the generation who will be working and who will be needing to learn everything that the knowledge pool in this room is leaving behind. So what does that have to do with travel policies? A lot. In the famous words of my friend Whitney Houston, I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. So our travel policies need to reflect what the future needs to hold, and that is what's coming, what's going to get people into jobs. And I believe, contrary to what was held on our last session, I think leisure is going to get more and more, it's going to invite people into the workforce. Now, how that's going to be reflected is going to be strictly put into policies. I think that insurance from companies might not necessarily cover you for leisure, and the companies definitely won't pay for it. But I do believe that if you're already overseas, that companies will do that as a perk to try and get you in the door, especially in sales roles and things like that, saying, okay, Gen Zs, you can't afford to buy houses, but hey, we're going to give you a sales role and you're going to get to go to Italy and you can put some of your annual leave and stay there. Now, that's a great incentive. The importance of the policy is going to be covering off on risk mitigation to make sure that you're kept safe and your families know where you are and your company knows where you are. So if there is a terrorist attack somewhere, if there is a medical emergency, if there is an act of God, that people know where you are, and the policies have to become really strict on that if they're not already. Policies will spell out what leisure or similar things like that cover off on, and what specifically the company will cover and won't cover, or where to refer to it, whether it's into your risk mitigation area, occupational health and safety, or your insurance area. I think what else will get covered is budgets are going to, your policy will come down to budgets as well. Now, what makes a successful policy? Is it budget, or is it people complying to policy? Now, I think when it comes to something like that, it's both. I think budgets, sticking to policy is going to save you money, because in the long run, you're saving money because people are staying at your preferred hotels, they're using your preferred car company, they're using your preferred airline, which is giving you consistency at those places, and it's going to get you savings at those places as well. So you're going to get a better airplane deal next year, you're going to get a better car deal next year, you're going to get better RFP pricing with your hotels. But you're also so that's going to save you the money, but it's also going to, the risk mitigation part of it is your company knows that you're flying with a reputable airline, you're staying at reputable environmental hotels, you're flying with an airline that has a carbon offset program that is important to your company and that's important to future generations. You're staying at hotels that are sorting their rubbish and doing things the right way. So I think that the travel policies are definitely going to get more complex, they're going to become more important, and they're going to be overseen by different areas of the business, including finance. Definitely Data protection will be commenting on what you can take, what laptops you can take, or what Wi-Fi you can use. If they're not already doing it, they're going to become more strict with that. What apps you can open, what countries you can use your mobiles in, about hotspotting, and using data cafes and stuff like that. There's going to be more and more people getting involved in the policies that we write. And that's about it.
Great insights, Lisa. Again, how am I supposed to debate against this? I agree with everything you said. But look, that's the crown that I wear on this hot seat. So let's discuss that. And look, I agree. I think with the evolution of demographics inside corporate travel, we have younger and more flexible options that are happening in the industry right now. Right, is that travelers on a younger demographic want choice, want optionality, want being able to choose where they stay, how they eat, how they work with suppliers that may be more sustainable than a corporate travel program. So look, I absolutely agree with that, but where does the flexibility and choice stop? Right, is that we all can't give everybody open access that just goes, yep, go for it and do what you need to do. At the end of the day, I think we need to also be very conscious that at the end of the day, policy is driven also to make sure that we're also protecting the revenue from the company, right? Is that our choices are making major impacts to our earnings potential and our revenue as an organization, as organizations in general. So absolutely, I think that flexibility is core to enticing new talent, enticing new individuals into the organization at a younger demographic. But also the reality is that let's be honest, the new generations are quite coddled in their way that they're brought into the real world. But let's be honest, the real world is harsh. Sometimes you're not allowed to do certain things and explore certain areas. So look, I also agree. I think there's a concept inside Bleisure that is so materially important around empowering travelers like myself. I've got a great example of me personally. I came a week early to Australia to spend some time with family for this event. Great option. Again, it didn't cost our organisation any more for me to do that. And I also understood the policy was driven that I would have a personal element and a corporate element, right? And as long as those frameworks are established, that education is given to those travellers, I think absolutely that flexibility inside travel policies is important. Also, at the end of the day, I think, collecting that travel data and also being able to entice city caps and making sure that we're also being able to negotiate with the lovely suppliers we have in the room to ensure that you're getting best in market pricing is also critical, right? I know that some of you have open travel policies where you do a rate city cap only. Right? And again, I personally love that concept. That's me. That I love traveling on my own because I can choose where I stay as long as I'm inside the rate cap. But again, from a negotiation power and the travel managers in the room that need that data, need room night allocations, need room night commitments, that's a challenge because you lose that negotiation with some of our hoteliers in the room and you lose some of the negotiation with the airlines, again, giving that choice back to the travelers. So I think it's a really important balance. I think we need to be very aware and very open as an industry that the new generation and the new demographics coming into a corporate travel and road warriors do need that a little bit flexibility, but also let's not forget about the traditional travelers as well. There are some road warriors that have been doing it for 30 plus years, and hopefully no one is doing that because that's too long to be a road warrior. But there are those individuals that also need to be protected inside the travel policy. So I agree. I think at the end of the day, I do think our policies are going to get more robust and more complex, but at the end of the day, I think we also need to be remembering that everybody and every travel manager in the room owns the value at the end of the day that you drive to your organization. And it's critical to balance the two and to understand how we deliver that in the future as well.
Absolutely.
Fascinating stuff. I'm turning towards our audience. Can you put up the next Slido, please? Would love to hear from you. A next generation traveler reflection. Identify one argument that has caused you to reevaluate your point of view. Something that was mentioned. Insurance.
Great point from Lisa. Absolutely. Not interested in policy. I like that. Choice, data privacy and insurance, absolutely. And again, that data privacy standpoint as well is so important inside your travel policy. I know I touched on it in the Andy session, but again, that AI, just the understanding of how AI is going to be impacting your travelers from a compliance and a reporting standpoint is so incredibly important. Choice and budget, tax risks, absolutely. Tax risks are a big one. And again, giving you some concepts while everybody's putting in their answers here. Here at BCD, we have a work from anywhere policy. So we are able to lodge through our people and culture team to actually be able to go intra-country. So, going to the US or going to the UK and spending a month of our time, we can actually do that inside our policies. But again, you've got to be understanding that there also are tax mitigations as well. I didn't read that one, sorry.
There's a hi Andy on there.
Oh, hi, Andy. Andy's everybody's friend. That's just unfair. Okay, excellent.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Lisa Batchelor, for joining us. Let's give her an applause. And then we have one more speaker that is going to join us on the stage. Please give a warm welcome to Timo Roll from Nioko.
Hello, Timo. Welcome.
Hi,
Welcome
Ben.
to the hot seat.
Thank you.
Okay, so before we bring you on to give your evidence on the biometric side, I am going to bring up one Slido. So again, just getting a sense of everybody's understanding in the room. So, in which year do we expect business travel to be 100% enabled by biometrics? 2040 is shot out as a leader, okay? And just reminding everybody, we are in 2025 currently. Okay, 2030, 2035. So 5 years we expect to be fully enabled on biometrics. Okay, that's great.
It's not
takes.
impossible.
You wait your turn. Okay, so wait for a few more people to respond. Okay, so we're actually pretty even, to be honest. What are we, 27%, 37%, 35%, 33%, okay. So some good takes in the room. So we're all assuming that over the next 10, 15, 20 years, we're going to be enabled to biometrics. So Timo, as our expert, over to you.
All right. Well, thank you, Ben. I can't forecast the future, so I don't know. But I would imagine it's one of those things where there will always be a small part that doesn't want to use biometrics or is not comfortable with it, in the same way that I could still send you a letter if I wanted to, but I prefer to send an email. Biometrics has made great progress, and there is the technology today to identify you as uniquely you, and that's really powerful with self-likeliness and face recognition technology. It is really possible to enable that seamless journey. We see it in a lot of airports today, which is really great to see. So it's getting traction, right? We've seen it in most recently in Indonesia. A couple of airports have been enabled by some of the Amadeus technology. There's just it's like a hallway you walk through, and the cameras will just pick up, and they recognize you, verify with their stored data, and you just walk through. So experience-wise, we're pretty far already. It's getting a little bit of traction. But what I do want to call out is that it's not just biometrics that we need. If we think about customer experience, yes, seamless travel is great. But what do we sacrifice for that today? If I want to travel seamlessly through your home airport, Singapore, for example, I need to upload my passport to a technology that's hosted by someone I don't know and shouldn't have to care about, owned by Changi Airport. They have a copy of my passport. That's highly sensitive data. On top of that, I need to upload my biometrics using my selfie camera, and that is also stored in Changi Airport. And then when I travel through the airport, the experience is seamless, which is fantastic. But by definition, when you're using an airport, you travel through another airport. When you get there, you won't be recognized. So what I'm saying here is that at the moment, to enable biometric journeys, we are sacrificing control of our data. And we, and by we, I mean travelers, we must demand better. We deserve better. We shouldn't have to sacrifice our data and control. So what we're getting with today's biometrics journeys is great. It's contactless, it's seamless, but it doesn't deliver us skill or trust or control. So what we're actually moving towards and should is delivering that control, trust, and scalability. And so there are proof of concepts already happening. You may have seen Hong Kong Airport last year. We were involved at Nioki, but it was led by IATA to prove that beyond their biometrics journey that they already have in place, instead of handing off all of our data to a third party, as a traveler, we keep the data in our own wallet, on our own device. And proving that allowed the traveler to go to Hong Kong Airport, travel through the bag drop where the biometrics recognize the booking, label the bags automatically, go through security, go into the lounge, so recognizing using purely biometrics, and then go through security, and then also enable biometrics boarding for the aircraft. All seamless and contactless. It seems like a very small step for mankind, which it is, because it's not a huge difference to the experience we had before. But it is a giant leap, because we shifted paradigm by having to give up our data and control of that data to a third party, to keeping it with ourselves and only with our own consent from the traveler, enabled through your wallet in your device. The data was shared with the airports purely for the purpose of processing you. Then that passenger traveled from Hong Kong to Tokyo Narita Airport, and at Tokyo Narita Airport, the experience was exactly the same. So it's scalable, it's trusted because you own your data, and it's fully within your control. That's where we need to move towards. This year, we are working with IATA again, amongst many other airports, airlines, and other technology providers to now scale the proof of concept across many, many more players. So we want to prove interoperability, because in a future world, if we are in control of our data, there wouldn't be one provider, there will be many. So we're leveraging global standards to make sure that we are creating this future level of identity trust in harmony across every touch point for travel. So that will take some time, but it is not unlikely that by 2030 or 2035, this will be widely adopted, because it does make a lot of sense, and I have no doubt in my mind that in the future, we live in a space that every single travel interaction, whether it's booking, searching, visa verification, traveling, booking restaurants, anything you do on your travels goes through your identity that you control.
Look, you heard it here first. In 4 years, Timo's going to guarantee biometrics for everybody. That's what we just heard. No, great concepts and great ideas as well, Timo. And again, I believe that we should be looking at globalization and shortening the world and shortening the barriers and the administration tasks of allowing travelers entry and de-entry into a lot of our locations and countries. But again, the pessimist in me is we're not there yet. Right? Look at our home soil here in Australia. There is only one airport currently allowing a digital entry card. Who here has filled out a physical entry card in Australia in the last few weeks? Okay, so a few of us who traveled internationally, right? And that's the reality, is there is such a traditional and administration area of that. And I think Timo brought up some great points around giving up that authority and that control over your personal data, right? I'm sure that most of you in the room have an element inside your contracts currently that talks about data sovereignty, right? That you are an Australian company and you want your data to only be stored on the shores of Australia. What we're seeing is that that's not the reality that you have. As soon as you lodge into an ESTA visa, the United States government have your access, have your information, know your passport details, entry and exit requirements. And one of the questions I'm sure that none of you have asked is, how long do they retain that data for? Is it for perpetuity? Is it for 5 years, 10 years? So there are some monumental risks about digitalization and digitalizing the way that both visa and biometrics and airport entry are working. But I am a firm believer that at the end of the day, we should be looking at opening up borders and moving forward. A great concept that I'll also share with you as a personal example. A few months ago, I was fortunate enough to travel into Shanghai, and I was on one of the first travelers into the open visa visa with Australia agreement that the Chinese government and the Australian government have signed. I can assure you that experience on a personal traveller standpoint was incredible. Traditionally you had to send away your passport for a few weeks and go through countless hands and countless stamps and authorization and approvals. And now that that's eliminated as an Australian citizen on an Australian passport, that experience for that traveller is second to none. So I think there are some great examples. And again, Timo shared also some great examples around Indonesia. And again, who's traveled here personally for Bali recently? Anybody? Sure, everybody has at some point. Again, the biometric scanners inside the Bali airport has eliminated a huge wait log to go through those airports and automate that experience for travelers. But again, I will go back as the pessimist and the realist here as well, of saying that we're nowhere near looking at globalizing that yet. And Timo shared a great example of going through Singapore and into Tokyo, but if you went into London, would you have that same experience?
No, you would have to hand over your data to somebody else yet again.
Exactly. So look, there are holes, and I think we as an industry and we as a constant road warriors need to be constantly educating that both the visa processing and also biometrics in airports need to be improved for the wider good of everybody. But again, it's not a collective of just this industry in this room to be able to kind of be that force of change. It also needs to come from the top down, from the governments buying into that process and wanting to automate manual processing and wanting to streamline. Maybe we can get Elon to do some Dodge for the globe, for those that don't know that. But look, I think it's an exciting time. I think we should all look at embracing biometrics, but also at the end of the day, your data is so important to you personally, and how you store, how you access, and how you hold on to that from a retention process is so important to you as an individual. Because I think there are more and more fraudulent cases that are happening. Yeah. Going back to has anybody heard of the concept called DeepSeek, where essentially they can produce an AI video of a person to be able to imitate that individual, to be able to gain access and to be able to gain logins and credentials and all sorts of different areas. So again, I think we as an we as an industry need to be championing the fact that your data is incredibly important to you personally, and I think we as an industry need to also embrace the future and embrace those elements, but again, be also very cognizant on the fact that at the end of the day, your data is yours.
That's right. You deserve control over your data.
Absolutely.
At all times.
Thank you.
And with that, I'm turning towards the audience because I have an inkling we all have feelings about this topic.
Ben's a pessimist again. He's not embracing the future.
So again, identify one argument that has caused you to reevaluate your point of view, and we'd love to hear about it.
I like that answer. Would love to have one global travel program. Come talk to me, booth 16. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Lunchtime. Yeah. I think we're all feeling like that. But look, and some of the great comments that's coming through from all of you in the room.
All right, we got a winner.
Absolutely. Scared to travel and share his details. Yes. Hey, we all should be scared to share our details. But no, look, I think summarizing, Neely, for everybody, and again, I think you can all appreciate, let's just take a few minutes to thank Andy, Lisa, and Timo to join me on stage. Let's give them a round of applause. It's, I can assure you it's no easy feat coming on to a room of distinguished guests like you all are, and industry experts like you all are, and talk about really polarizing comments and topics. And I think from my personal standpoint, I really love this session because it is talking about thought leadership and different perspectives on both the futuristic state and the realistic state around what we're seeing and what we're feeling as an industry now. So hopefully each and every one of you are able to take away some concepts both as a futurist and a pragmatist as well around the realities of what we're moving into as an industry as well. So again, thank you very much for everybody being here and your active participation, and hopefully you can enjoy the next few hours of facts that we have left. But it's been amazing sharing the stage with the four of you and for everyone joining us in the theatre today.